Hi, it's Mike from Powell River, British Columbia, Canada, and today what I'm going to talk about is growing potatoes. This here is my potato bed, and right now I've got it all planted with potatoes, different kinds of potatoes. And what I do to maximize production is I dig a hole down about 6 to 8 inches deeper if you can get it, and I plant my potato at the bottom of the hole. There's one right there. So what I do is I plant the potato deep in the ground and just cover it just with a little bit of soil, and then as they sprout I cover the new shoots with soil. I got my excess soil here and I just keep covering up the shoots as they grow, and this maximizes production because what it forces the shoots to do is produce tubers. If I were just to dig a hole, plant potato, and then fill it up with 8 to 12 inches of soil above the tuber, you wouldn't get as many potatoes, because what happens is the shoots just grow as rapidly as they can to get to the surface, and as a result you don't get many tubers. So this is the way you maximize production. Out of this bed I'll probably get about 80 to 100 pounds of potatoes, which is more than we eat usually in the winter. But potatoes are pretty easy to grow. They're once you've done this and you've grown them to the surface here and it's level, and then you just let them grow, and basically all I do after that is water them. Give them a little bit of fertilizer, but you don't want to give them too much nitrogen, because otherwise you get lots of green tops. You want all the growth in the tubers underneath the ground. You don't want them to grow big, long, gangly tops. What other people do too is once you get it to the surface, you can also mound soil around the plant and keep mounding the soil up around the stems, and that way you'll get even more tubers growing. But I find this is good enough, just digging a hole and putting the potato in it. And this is probably, I grow potatoes mostly because I can grow varieties that you can't buy in the supermarket that are a lot better tasting than what you buy in the supermarket. The industrial grown potatoes are grown for maximum production and maximum storage capability. So they tend to be rather starchy and not the greatest tasting potatoes. I find the varieties that you can buy and grow in your garden, which aren't available in supermarkets, are much better. One type of potato I grow that is notably a lot tastier than what you get in the supermarket is it's called a Russian potato. This is the shape of it, and these are a very rich tasting potato. They're one of the best potatoes I've ever had, and the reason that you can't get them in supermarkets is they're very thin skinned, and they don't transport well, and so the commercial producers stay away from those kind of potatoes, even though they taste way better. I've never seen them available commercially before. And once you get hold of those tubers, you can save your tubers as seed stock each year. And that's what I do. I don't have to buy any more tubers now. I've got my stock. I always save a few good potatoes and use them for seed stock the following year. The other reason I like to grow potatoes is it's good for food security. You've all heard about how you should keep a supply of food in your house in case there's a disruption in the food supply. I don't need to go into details as to why this can happen. You've all heard about earthquakes or natural disasters or who knows what. For some reason the food supply can get disrupted, and if you've ever looked in the local supermarkets and looked at how much food is there relative to the population in your area, you'll see that most supermarkets don't have more than 4 or 5 day supply of food. You know, in other words, if everybody ran to the supermarket, they'd probably be depleted in 4 or 5 days. So it's nice to have a bed of potatoes. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we can leave these potatoes in year-round. I often do. I don't dig them up at the end of the year. I just leave them in the ground because here we don't get deep freezing. And when I do dig them throughout the winter, they're nice and fresh out of the ground, and it's a great way to store them. That way, you know, if I ever, for some reason, who knows what, like there's a disruption in the food supply, I can always come out here and dig potatoes. You know, throughout history, there's been many civilizations that have been saved by the potato. It's one of the few foods that has all the nutrients, pretty much, that you need to survive on. And it's a good food safety thing to have in your yard. Just throw a few potatoes in the ground. They're so easy to grow. You can leave them in year-round in a lot of places where you don't get the deep ground freezing. And even if you do, you can dig them up, throw them in a sack, and put them in the corner of your garage and use them as you need them. They store easy, keep well, and you'll get better tasting potatoes by growing varieties that aren't available in the supermarkets. Thanks for watching my video, and hopefully we'll get producing some more in the season. And I'll probably show a shot of this garden again later in the season as things progress here. Thanks a lot for watching my video. Okay, so now we have the potatoes sprouting, and there it is. There's the one right there in the hole, and at this point is where you want to start covering the leaves up. So what I'm going to do is just grab some soil and literally just dump it on the potato and cover it up. And so you put a good layer of soil on the potato, and just like that. It's covered up now, and that potato is going to grow up again and push through the soil, but right where the leaves are, it's going to form potatoes at that level in the ground there. And so I'm going to keep doing this as it grows.